You are in for a treat. You chose well by being here tonight. Kit Holmes is an amazing speaker, musician, singer, songwriter. She is here tonight to bless you with her gift. I have known Kit for quite a few years now. We've done conferences together. She is just really a true artist in every way. I'm going to be doing some music with her at the Unity Convention next month back in Kansas City, and I know you're going to love her. Please give her a warm Unity welcome. Kit Holmes.
Start with a song today. You ready, guys? Yes. Of course you are. These guys are so awesome. Give it up for the band. Everybody's got a story. Lord knows I've got mine. All our pain and all our glory, all the masks we hide behind. I'm standing here in wonder at my faith in things unseen, holding back or diving under. There is no in between. Everything's a lesson, everyone's a mirror, no matter where I am. But when my heart is open and my mind is clear, I know I can. Return to love. Oh, return to love. Return to love. Deconstructing my defenses, dismantling my pride, making peace and mending fences with who I am inside. When I let myself go deeper, love is closer than my breath. My master and my keeper are beating right here in my chest. Everything's a lesson, everyone's a mirror, no matter where I am. When my heart is open and my mind is clear, I know I can. Oh, return to love, return to love. Oh, return to love, return to love. Everything's a lesson and everyone's a mirror. In everything I do, my heart is open and my mind is clear. Now I'm asking you to, oh, return to love, return to love. Oh, return to love, return to love. Sing along if you like. Oh, return to love, return to love. Oh, return to love, return to love. Return to love. Return to love. you. Thank you. Wow. Thank you so very much. Thank you again, Michael, for having me. The energy in here tonight is fabulous. Can you just, wow. Wow. I don't know if it's the storms coming or what it is, but it's the energy of life, as Michael talked about, that oiahea, that big juicy stuff that we love to be in, that place we want to be in every single day. And it's just amazing that it just so happens that I'm going to talk about living that kind of a life, living a charmed life. How many of you have had the experience, or maybe you know somebody in your life who sometimes you just got to shake your head because it just seems that everything drops into place for them? Yes. How many are you that person? Are you? How many? Yes, I like that somebody admits that they're that person. But you know what I'm talking about. It's that when you're in traffic out on 10 and there's wall-to-wall traffic and somebody comes blowing by you and you're like, I'm going to drive a little bit faster, and the cop comes and they pull the guy behind you over. And you're out somewhere else and you're saying, man, this sold-out show, it's been sold out for months. And your buddy at work says, boy, this guy just called me to say, hey, he had these tickets for the front row seats. So it's that charmed kind of life that you're saying, man, what do they got that I don't got? They must have some secret, some special something that I don't possess, that they can do these kind of things in their lives and I can't, that things just drop into place. So what we're talking about, what I'm going to share with you tonight is that transformative place where we can find that place of living in a charmed life. I was one of those people that used to say, I don't know how they do it. They must have something I don't. They must be special. They must be something, but I'm not doing it right. So about 20 years ago, I was working in a corporate job, as many of you may know how that goes. And by all appearances, I was living a pretty good life. I was in the music business. I've been a musician, had been a musician at that point all my life, working in bands. And at this point, I had gotten this job about an hour east of Atlanta, Georgia, in a little town called Madison, the only town that Sherman did not burn on his march to the sea. Another story for another time. But I'm in this job, I'm in this corporate job, I'm solidly in middle management as a supervisor. I was the supervisor of the mastering department for a compact disc manufacturing facility. I've got the state-of-the-art studio. I've got these other folks that work for me. I get to listen to music all day long, master tapes from RCA, from A&M, Whitney Houston's. We would hear it before anybody else did. And I was miserable. I wasn't playing music, I wasn't writing music, but I was living the dream. I had a great paycheck, I had full benefits, paid vacations, all those things. I had a house in the suburbs with my partner at the time. But the glass ceiling was very apparent. And there was also a culture there. It was a very interesting mishmash of cultures. It was a Japanese-owned company, so all the senior technical engineers were Japanese. The president of the company and a few other of the upper management were New York Mafia record label executives. Upper management were the local good old boys from Madison, Georgia, all white men, save for one woman. And then those are the rest of us in the middle management were all things. The human resources department were all Mormons. Most of the people on the production line were African American Baptists. Most were illiterate. This was in the middle Georgia. This is in the late 80s, early 90s. So there was a mismatch of all these things going on, but I was getting depressed and more depressed because I knew that music was some part of my life and some part of my purpose. I just didn't know how to get there. So as things began to progress and I got more and more depressed, the final straw for me was that I had a new-to-me boss. He'd become my boss about 6 months prior to when we were getting our annual performance reviews. And up to that point, I had 6 years of really excellent, nothing but excellent performance reviews, and suddenly, a scathing, everything, it just blew my mind. I was shocked that this person that I was sitting in front of was telling me about this person that I was. But it was that cosmic 2x4 that said, it's time to leave. It's time to get out of here. So I took this leap of faith saying, you know, I've got all this technical experience, I have all this talent, I'm going to go start my own mastering studio. And I did. And I proceeded to make every single rookie mistake that you do when you start a business without a support system. My partner at the time, it terrified her. And we ended up splitting apart. Within a year, I was bankrupt, separated from my partner, living in my windowless studio, and suicidally depressed. And even though I was working in bands, there was something I just couldn't quite get to that place. It doesn't sound like a very charmed life to me. Fortunately for me, I had or I should say I was graced with a very insightful and very spiritually based therapist who, after about a year of working together, had asked me very gently, do you have a spiritual practice? And I had grown up in a traditional Irish Catholic family, a very traditional, where you don't question a lot of things. There's a lot of shame. There are a lot of guilt things. There are a lot of stories that you never hear about the family, but all you know is that everything is wrong, no matter what you do. So my answer to her, I wanted to answer my therapist very quickly, and she said, do not answer it. Just think about it. And the next week I came back with her, and she handed me a reading list. And on the top of that reading list was Marianne Williamson's A Return to Love, which is why I started with that song tonight. And it was the beginning of my transformation from living a harmed life where I thought life was happening to me to beginning to move into a charmed life where I knew and I know and I practice that life is happening for me and through me. So 3 of the tools, those transformational tools that I want to touch on this evening very quickly, is knowing what you need, knowing where you want to go. What is it in your life? You may say, I don't have a dream, I don't know what my dream is. And I would say you do. There is a part of you, that God Spirit part of you that does know what your dream and what your desires are. You have just buried them like I was burying them because I was doing what I thought I was supposed to do, what people were kind of telling me, dictating to me. This is what you need, a steady job. Don't follow your heart in being a musician or a songwriter. Do what's practical. Do what's expected. So the first tool that we learn is designing a dream. And the place that we come from with that is, what would you love? And you go, oh, well, I would love a new car. Well, we're working with the law. And I know you hear a lot about the law, being in unity, being in new thought, that there is that presence and that power that works in and through us and for us that is always saying yes to us. That law that will take every thought that we have thought over the years, that we have coupled with a belief, that we have turned into action, that we have turned into a habit that becomes our core belief system, so much so that we don't even know we do it anymore. Our unconscious mind, our subconscious mind that most of the time directs what happens in our lives. So we're working with the law. So the benefit of this and the beauty of this is knowing we have the power to create, to co-create. We have the power to create that form. Some people will call it putting the form into a sidewalk or a driveway. You have to design it. You have to say, this is the shape I want. I want it to be a patio, or I want it to where my barbecue grill is going to go, or where I'm going to park my car, or the lawnmower, or the boat, or whatever that is. But you have to give it shape. The substance comes in, fills it in, and does that. Take away the frame, and it stays. Some people like to say it's a Jell-O mold, too. Sometimes when I'm having fun, it's the Jell-O mold of life. What shape is your Jell-O mold? That should be the talk title, I think, maybe. What shape is your Jell-O mold? So you design the life, and you come from that place, what would I love? It's the stuff in you that says, when you take that breath, and you go, yeah. So rather than just saying a new car, you have to be a little more specific. A new car to you might be a Ferrari. A new car to somebody else might be a 2006 Volkswagen. Be more specific. So you're designing your dream. What would you love? Would you love to heal a relationship? Would you love a great improvement in your health, in your job situation? Would you love to be doing what you love to do and getting paid for it? So you design the dream. You have permission. I give you permission right now to design your dream. The second step is deciding for it, and this is a really, really powerful step. When you decide for it, it is an action step. It says you're planting your flag, you're putting your foot down, you're saying, I'm doing this thing. This is going to happen. I'm finally going to write that book. I'm finally going to write that book. Now, there's another charmed life that I like to bring into this talk, somebody that lives a charmed life, and that was Forrest Gump. And Forrest's life looks very charmed that he was always seemed to be in the right place at the right time. But what we notice from the beginning of that story, he had a dream. His dream through the entire story, through his entire life, was to be with his best friend from childhood, Jenny, the love of his life from day one. They were friends. He loved her deeply. His mission, his purpose in life was to love and to be in service to love. Now, Forrest's mom is a great example of spirit to me because Forrest loved Forrest unconditionally. Forrest's mom loved him unconditionally. And as you know, he seemed to have some intellectual challenges. But what I know is that his IQ, his spiritual and his heart IQ was enormous. But she loved him unconditionally. He even had some physical challenges when he was younger. But he followed the guidance every day. She said, I believe in you, I love you, you can be anything you want to be. And the famous line, run, Forrest, run, was when he would decide. He would decide, he would listen, and he would do what he was told. And every time he did that, those serendipitous, synchronous things would show up in his life. He always said yes to the power in him that was always saying yes. When we move towards God, God moves towards us. So we decide for that dream. We say, I'm going to do this despite circumstances, despite conditions. Because those conditions are just that. Those beliefs, those old things that have come up that want to pull us back and say no. But those don't belong to you. You get to decide what belongs to you. You get to decide for your dream. You get to decide to be happy, to be healthy, to be forgiving, to be generous, to be kind. And you can also decide the other way. But my experience in transformation has been that place of knowing when I decide, when I set it up, when I say right now, this is what I'm doing, things move without me being able to connect the dots at all. Sorry, I just recognized that. So somebody else that I like to bring into this talk is James Bond. The charmed life of James Bond. And we think he had it all, everything just dropped into his lap. But what we might want to look at is that he too had a mission. He always had a mission. He always said yes. But the thing about James Bond and his saying yes to his mission was he never doubted that he would succeed. Regardless of circumstances or anything else that happened around him, he never doubted that he would succeed. And he would decide in the moment to take action on the information that he had right then and there. And as you know from all of those things, it would be suddenly a boat would show up and a car would show up and some way of escaping to get away, to finish the mission. He never sat around thinking about whether or not his enemies didn't like him. It was pretty clear that they didn't. They were always trying to kill him, okay? But he never let that stop him from the mission. So that second tool, that transformational tool, is deciding. They go hand in hand. You must have a direction, and you got to decide to go in that direction. The third part of this, is becoming that dream. And part of that becoming is that you have to learn how to befriend your fear. Because when your conscious mind, when you decide you're going to make a change in your life, all of those habits and beliefs of the familiar are going to want to pull you back into the vortex of the familiar, even if the familiar is painful and not pretty and detrimental, even deadly. So one of the tools that I like to use, and I use it constantly with myself, is make an appointment with your fear. When a dramatic thing happens, when a circumstance, when something shows up in your life unexpectedly, and your first instinct is to go, oh my God, what am I going to do? 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 You say, stop. You say, stop. I will make an appointment with you in 3 days. And that sounds really funny, but what happens is you interrupt the paradigm. You interrupt the habit of thought. Your entire being isn't involved in this anymore. You've taken a step back and you've said, wait a minute, there is a part of me that is afraid, of course. I don't know what to do in this moment. But when you give yourself that breath and you give yourself that time to step back and say, you know what? I will deal with you. I will deal with you later. I will give you my full attention in 3 days. More than likely in 3 days, you're going to forget that it was ever a fear, that was ever getting in the way. It's the same thing with any other feeling that comes up. Feelings are that place that live in our brain that take us to the fight or flight when we are stimulated through all of our other senses. And it's a long-formed habit. It goes beyond our life in this iteration. It goes beyond and beyond. It is our human, that animal instinct part of us that wanted to protect us from saber-toothed tigers or whatever it was. I don't know how to get rid of it. Nobody knows how to do it, science, other than to reprogram, repattern our brains, and we can do that. We have the power to do that. We have the spiritual tools to do that. And one of those spiritual tools is knowing that we are supplied and supported always by that indwelling presence. It is always there, always available to us to call on it and say, you know, my mind right now in this human form doesn't know how to solve this problem, but there is a part of that mind, that part of my mind that is the part of the one mind that does know the answer to this. Yeah, breathe. So what I'd like to do now is do a little bit of practicing of using this one mind and maybe lifting up a little bit of the lid on a dream you may have. So I'm going to ask the band to come up for part of a song. We're going to do a little meditation. I'm just going to ask you to relax into this place, in your chairs. The thing that I know about transformational change, first step is always that you have to be willing. There has to be some part of you that says, it's time. It's time to make this shift. And that's a huge first step. You're here this evening because something called you. Maybe you come every Wednesday, maybe you come every Sunday. Maybe this is your first time. But there was something that brought you here that said, it's time to take a little bit of a different perspective. So your willingness is huge. So pat yourselves on the back for that. It's great. I am willing to open my heart. I am willing to be the change I wish to see. And I know your love, 'cause I am willing to listen to the still small voice in me. I am willing to open my mind. I am willing to be the change I wish to see. And I know that it's all good, 'cause I am willing to listen to the still small voice in me. So if you haven't already, I invite you to close your eyes gently. And I invite you to put your focus on your breath. Notice its rhythm, its pattern. How deeply you may be breathing in and out. And then gently shift your focus to your heartbeat. And then notice that when you shift your focus away from your breath, you are still breathing. That light and that life that is breathing you, that is beating your heart, is always present. It is always present, giving you every idea, providing you with every answer, giving you direction, and always gently tapping, beating on your heart, beating in your thoughts, asking you to express more of it. That still small voice has a message for you. And you may ask it What is mine to do? If I set aside every thought of how, if I am willing to listen, what is mine to do? When you have that word or that image, know that you have taken a step you have opened up a place in you that is willing to keep taking steps. There is something for you to do in this life that is only yours and yours to do. So knowing with the full course of love and power and intelligence, infinite wisdom behind you, in you, through you, supporting you, holding you up. As your partner, as your guide. Allow yourself to feel the gratitude of knowing everything is possible. So breathe in that gratitude. Breathe in the joy of knowing. Absolute joy of knowing that because this idea, this word, this image that came to you was given to you specifically. It is yours and yours alone. There is so much power in that. So breathe in that power. Know how powerful you are. And be willing. Be willing to step into the courage, to step into that life. willing to be present, to be willing to befriend the fear that is going to come up. And it will come up when you are willing to make the change. Thank you. I will finish here, Ben. You can just leave me on this mic. So the willingness to change, the willingness to be in this place. You've decided for a dream, you've designed a dream, and you've befriended your fear. And what I know is you're going to do marvelous things in this world. You're already doing marvelous things in the world, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So the last part of my story is what I'm going to end with here. Was based on a true story and based on that experience of leaving that corporate job. And this song actually kind of wrote me, because it took 10 years to go from a concept that I wasn't sure what was going on. It kind of dropped in. And I just stayed with it and would revisit it. And finally one day when I was ready, the song finished itself. And I am grateful to be here. Thank you again, Michael. It was another lousy day at work, so at lunch I took a drive to figure out just how it was that all my dreams had died. Down a red dirt road was an old wooden church on the edge of a cotton field. Big old ancient oak tree waving to me in the breeze. So I pulled up right next to it, pleased with the choice I'd made. Was gonna find some peace, by God, in that tree's majestic shade. I didn't expect what I heard next, since I thought I was alone. Gentle voice said, "I'm so glad you found your way back home." And it said, "The answer you're looking for is right inside your heart. Why not try to open it wide, and you'll find a brand new place to start. All I know is time won't wait. It slips like water through woman. She was about as old as that old tree. An amazing fire was in her eyes, and she was staring back at me. I asked her where she came from and if I had lost my sanity. She said, honey, when you ask for help, you end up with me. The answer you're looking for is right inside your heart. Why not try to open it wide, and you'll find a brand new place to start. All I know is time won't wait. It slips like water through your hands. You should know that it's not too late to make a change in plans. It's all I know. So I woke up under that sprawling oak as day turned into night. A gentle breeze had spread the leaves, and a single ray of light became that woman's smile as she disappeared from sight. How else could I thank her but to act on her advice? The answer I was looking for was in my heart, it's true. I changed my plans, and here I am, singing.